There's nothing better than a hot cup of coffee on an overnight passage. That makes a good thermos a cruiser's best friend. But all vacuum flasks are not created equal. Hi there, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. Today, I'm talking about which bottles are best for keeping meals and drinks hot or cold. As a side note, I'm filling in for Carolyn. This is normally her podcast day, but I'm filling in for her as she's taking care of a few personal things. She's fine. Everybody's fine. It's all good, but I'm just the voice that you're hearing. Normally, it would be Carolyn. So welcome to my voice for a second time this week. Before I start talking about thermoses, though, I'm really thrilled to talk about our partnership with the Salty Dawg Sailing Association. This is an educational and charitable organization that helps sailors realize their long-distance cruising dreams. They host rallies like the Caribbean Rally, taking boats from the East Coast down to the Bahamas or the Caribbean. They host rendezvous like the Annapolis Boat Show Dinner with renowned sailor Gary Jobson. But every single SDSA event helps guide newbies to independent decision-making and offshore confidence. There is still time to be part of the fun for 2023. Join a rally, join a rendezvous, but whatever you do, join the Salty Dawg Sailing Association today. Salty Dawg Sailing Association. Sailors helping sailors. Visit saltydogsailing.org to learn more. That's saltydawgsailing.org to learn more. If you're doing one of the Caribbean rallies, you're probably leaving the U.S. in times when it's a little bit chilly. And you're definitely going to want a good thermos bottle, which actually has another name. There is a lot of difference between various vacuum bottles, and that's really the correct name for what most of us refer to as a thermos. And while spending a lot of money on one is not a guarantee that it will do a good job of keeping its contents hot, buying a cheap one pretty much guarantees that it won't. Carolyn has gone through a whole lot of different vacuum bottles, at least 10 that she can think of. And at first, she bought cheap ones, thinking, oh, they're all the same. Well, they're not. And getting a good one from the start is cheaper, particularly when it doesn't cost any more than many that are mediocre, although it will cost more than the cheapest ones. But let's see, if you buy 3 cheap ones looking for one that's going to get you somewhere decent, whereas you start with a decent one to begin with, start with a decent one. It does save you time, money, and extra stuff. If you're just trying to keep coffee warm for an hour while you're having breakfast, a very cheap little plastic insulated jug, nothing but air between 2 pieces of plastic. Yeah, that works. But if you want to make coffee and drink it 3 hours later in the middle of an overnight watch, you're probably not going to be so excited when you open it up and find barely lukewarm coffee. Personally, I hate lukewarm coffee. I'm a gotta have it piping hot kind of person. So it's not only coffee that you need a good thermos for. If you're going to make your own yogurt, which I highly recommend, you definitely need a well-insulated bottle to hold the heat well enough to make your yogurt. In the tropical summer, a not-so-great one works okay to make yogurt, but as winter comes closer, it does not do the job at all. And so there are differences, even between what seem to be good brands. And here is what Carolyn has concluded. By far, the best thermos bottles are sold under the name Thermos Nissan, not just Thermos. They're about the same price as the Stanley bottle for the same size, but insulate much, much better. Not only is the bottle insulation better, but the Thermos Nissan bottles have an insulated stopper, which other brands don't seem to. The other thing that I've found, this is Nika talking, the Thermos Nissan bottles are actually large enough for you to get your hand in to clean well, as opposed to the Stanley bottles that tend to have a very narrow neck. The Thermos Nissan bottles are all stainless inside and out, so there shouldn't be any issues with breakage. Buy those and you won't be looking for a new bottle in a year, unless you want to get another one in a different size or to give as a gift. And a couple of things. Even with a great bottle, it is important to preheat the bottle, and it will work best when full. If you don't preheat or pre-chill, I guess if you're trying to keep things cold, it won't keep the contents hot or cold, as it takes a lot of the heat or cold in the food initially to heat or chill the inside of the bottle. To heat the bottle, pour boiling water into it, put the lid on, let it sit for 2 or 3 minutes, pour the hot water out, save it for another use, and pour the hot drink or food in. And if you want to pre-chill it, you can do the same thing with cold water. Certainly, the wide mouth ones make it easier to clean, but in any case, getting a bottle brush is helpful to get down inside the bottle. And there's a link to the bottle brush and to Thermos Nissan products in the show notes. You can get these bottles in a whole lot of different sizes. We have 2 different size thermoses on board, the Thermos Nissan, the wide mouth ones. We've got a 16-ounce stainless steel food jar, which we actually initially found years and years ago when we were putting food in our kids' lunch boxes. They would take lunch to school, and having one of these thermoses meant that they could take soup or leftovers that were warm, and then they would have a nice warm meal at lunch, which was great. The other size that we also have is a 40-ounce one, which is about 1.5 quarts. It's great for making yogurt, and I actually use it to fill up and have hot boiling water when we're going on watch at night. Don't be surprised if you end up with more than one size thermos on board. They're great for so many different things, and they can tuck away kind of nicely, even on Calypso, our small boat. Carolyn wound up with 3, a large one for coffee, a large one for thermos cooking, and a small one. She tends to use the small one to make yogurt, and I use the bigger one to make yogurt. And most days, Carolyn used at least 2 of them. I can't wait to share an anchorage with you, and maybe we're sharing a hot drink because we have thermoses that keep things nice and warm, and we're cozy and together. And we get to toast to our good fortune at being able to live this incredible lifestyle. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love hearing from our listeners. We love it when you come check us out at the Annapolis Boat Show. If you're looking for more intense, hands-on learning from us in person or from other amazing instructors, check out Cruisers University at the Annapolis Boat Show. There are lots and lots of courses to choose from and tons of really amazing people to meet. I hope you have the most spectacular week.